output of this light is insane, guys. This thing is super bright. Like these LEDs here are pretty bright as they are. Even with the high beams, they're actually pretty bright. But once you use this light bar, man, it puts these lights to shame. It almost looks like these are like fog lights compared to what this. Guys, welcome back. It's a great day. Well, today we're going to be installing a 40-inch LED bar on the Ford Bronco, and we're not going to be using any hardware at all to secure this down to the bumper. Yeah, normally I wasn't actually going to put this LED bar on the top of the roof here, but with the hardware that it came with, it's not going to work. There's just no way to mount it up there. I ended up mounting it here between the bumper and the lower grille. And trust me, guys, it works great. It's basically just sandwiched in between the bumper and the grill, and it does not go anywhere. Trust me, I just came back from a trip up in the Texas Hill Country, and we went through some really rough terrain to get to our camping site, and this thing worked amazing. It wasn't moving around or shaking at all, guys. So I'm gonna show you guys how I secured it and how I mounted it up there and how I ran the wiring and how it all works. I've seen people mount these before and they secure it down to the bumper here, which is great, but this plastic here, it's really flimsy, and I don't trust that at all. I can guarantee you that the LED bar will be shaking on the road if you secure it that way. You can knock this out in probably less than 30 minutes, really, honestly, if you have all the tools. And there's not many tools needed to do the job. All I needed to use was a 8mm socket, a 10mm socket, and a 15mm socket. So basically, before I get started on removing everything, this is basically the little rubber seal that's actually in between the bumper and the grill here, as you can tell. So it's a 3-piece set. There's this little piece, and then the long strip that I just took off, and then the other piece. And these are basically secured down with little 10mm bolts on the back of the bumper here. And this one, the center, has 7 of them that you have to remove. But let's go ahead and get started. So you want to remove the lower shield, and we're basically going to remove 4 out of the 6 bolts. These 2 front 15s, the center 15 bolts remove, and the back bolts here, you basically have to just loosen them up quite a bit in order for the shield to slide out. It's got a slot in the shield for it to slide out, so these bolts will actually help you hold the shield in place for you while you go and mount it back in. Alright, got the lower shield off, so this is the slots I was telling you on the back of the shield. Once you loosen the bolts, this shield will actually slide out of those bolts there. Now we can remove these fog lamp covers here, and basically these pop right off, real simple. And what we need to do, if you have the parking sensor, we need to go ahead and unclip those. So there'll be one here and one on the end. But let's go ahead and remove the first one. And these are really simple. You just basically, so there's the first one. Basically just squeeze down on the back of the tab, which will release the sensor. So that's one. Let's get the second one out. Same way, just squeeze this down, pull it back, and out it comes. Basically, we're going to remove 2 out of the front bolts from each side. So we can remove this one, and this one will just loosen up. Same thing on this side. And this one we'll leave on there for now. 2, and then these top ones, all we're going to basically do is loosen them up, not remove them all the way, like so. And you can back these up obviously quite a bit because these are pretty long bolts, and that'll give you enough room to pull the bumper forward and down, and we can swing this light out of the way. So here is basically where we can remove the seal. So you have to move the seal down, and there'll be 10 or 7 of these 10mm bolts. So as you can tell, where I removed the ones before. And once you remove those, you can go ahead, grab your light, and basically just position it somewhere in the center. Alright, so once you get the light in place and you're happy with the position that you want, and you have the wire ran behind the bumper just hanging there for now, we can go ahead and start the bumper bolt again. At least start all 3 bolts again. So we want to go ahead and grab our hardware, Now all you want to do is just finger start them for now, so that way we know they at least started. Alright guys, once you get all the bolts started on the bumper, this is where a second pair of hands can come in handy. You want to push the bumper up as high and as hard as you can so you can sandwich the tail light between the grill and the bumper. And obviously the harder you push up, the more secure the light will be between both of the items here. So we're going to go ahead and push up as hard as we can. Alright, so went ahead and tightened up all the bumper bolts. We're nice and secure. And I'm telling you, this thing is not going anywhere. It's nice and tight. So before we go ahead and actually put the panels back on the bumper, let's go ahead and run the wires up to make sure everything works before we go ahead and put everything back together. So with the hood open, basically what I did was I ran mine straight up through here. There's a pretty big hole here where you can just pitch it, or at least fish it through here, and ran it across the battery and behind the fuse block here. And this is where I made my connection here. So the good thing about Lost Fits kits here, they actually come with this nice weather sealed adapter here, so that once you plug this into the harness of the light, you have a little pigtail here where it's got the red and the black. So red will be power, black will be obviously the ground. So where I made my connections, I have the auxiliary switches on my Ford Bronco. So you can add yours to whichever one you want. I added mine to auxiliary number 2, and then that's where I hooked up my power, was to auxiliary number 2, which is the green and brown wire, and then I hooked up my ground to the ground strap right here on the top, and then go ahead and turn the switch on to make sure everything works before we put everything back together. Alright, now that we made sure that everything works, we're going to go ahead and put everything back together and go test this out and see how bright it is. I got it all back together, and like I said, it looks really good. Actually, it looks like it's supposed to be there, man. Just the way it looks and the way it fits. Alright guys, so here we are going to have some nighttime driving with the low beams on, and we're about to switch over to the high beams on. There you go. And it makes a little bit of difference, but wait till we actually switch over to the LED bar. You're going to notice a really big difference in light output. Look at that, guys. That is insane how much bright this light. This bar is super bright. We're going to do some trail driving now here in a little bit. So this is with the actual LED bar on, and we'll switch off to the high beams. And the bar is just, man, I'm telling you guys, this thing is super bright. And this is recorded with the GoPro Hero 8 on the dash. Alright guys, so I'll be listing this LED bar down below in the description if you're interested in purchasing it from Amazon or directly from Lost Fits website. If you do from Lost Fits website, we'll be adding a promo code that will save you 10% off the purchase of this LED bar or anything on their website. Like always guys, we'll see you guys on the next one.